What's up, guys? Welcome to Sexin and Flexin Live Sunday. Um, Unfortunately, my co-host didn't send me an intro, so we don't have an intro tonight. But I am going to take some time to shout out the sponsors. We got Reptile Crew. You have your merch, go get it. And then we got C&B Reptiles. I mean, they're from Arizona, and they're the best. I mean, what else can I say? Um, Also, if you're not a US ARC member, go and become one. They actually need us. They need us more than ever right now. And then I'm gonna bring the ladies on in. Here we go.
Hit the here.
All right, we got Genetics Nerd, we got Christina, Moshbaz, we got Michelle, Inky Clouds, we got Tommy.
Okay.
What's up, guys?
Hey.
All right. So we're gonna talk about the first question is the ball training. What? The ball training and behavior. You want to talk about that, Christina?
I don't think she can hear us now.
Can you hear us?
I can now, but then it stopped.
Oh, I don't know what happened. Sorry. I was asking, did you want to talk about the behavior and ball training that you're doing?
I cannot hear, so give me a minute.
Oh, okay. Well, Tommy,
Hi.
would you like to? Because I know both y'all are doing.
I'm not doing behavior with reptiles like right now. Like she's focusing on I think choice for handling and things like that. I have done some work with like leopard geckos and things like that, but I've never worked with snakes. Most of the work I do right now is with horses and dogs. So that's why I was kind of really interested in what Christina had to say, because her working with the snakes is really interesting.
What happened to your camera?
I don't know. Can you find me? Yay! We're all having issues tonight.
I see this. Can Christina hear us now, or no? She still can't hear us yet.
She's not changing her face, so I'm gonna say she can't. She can't hear us. Right. Make sure. Oh, guess that's somebody else.
Well, then, okay, we'll start with an easy question. Then we're gonna have y'all while we introduce y'all, so we'll say what y'all are working with. Michelle, can you tell us what you work with and what you're breeding?
Yep, right now we're breeding ball pythons is the only thing we're currently breeding. But we have boas, we have dwarf retic, a carpet python, corn snakes, king snakes. I feel like I'm forgetting stuff, but we have dwarf dart frogs, and we've got out most of our lizards, but we do still have the morning geckos. So.
All right, Tommy.
Oh. Yeah, I think she left to come back in.
Yeah.
I'm only working with ball pythons right now. I'm working with a bunch of different morphs, but mostly focusing on dark morphs. I've started some monarch, some black exanthic. I'm working a little bit of clown stuff, but really not focusing on that at all, honestly. I got kind of caught up in the hype and then I was like, wait, I don't love clown as much as I thought I did. I do like it, but it's just not really as interesting to me as some of the other combos. I actually have started liking champagne combos recently, which when I first got into ball pythons, I was like, oh, I don't like any champagne, I don't think. But now I'm like, wait, there's some really cool stuff in that. So I've kind of started getting some of that lately.
So you focusing on champagne and
I'm mostly focusing on dark morphs. Champagne's like new. I've got a ton of blackhead, like blackhead everything. Blackhead had this, blackhead had that. I've got some Wookiee. I've got a bunch of GHI, super GHI, blackhead Mojave. I've got one banana behind me. I've got a banana, spot nose leopard. But that's all the banana I have. But most everything I have is dark. I just keep on like ending my road. It always like ends out at like a black snake. And I'm like, I need to do something different. But like, I'm just like, just love all the dark ones. And I'm like, I just mix them all together and make a black snake. I'm like, no, I need to do something else. So that's how that's happening for me.
Yeah, Dominic says much better to focus on what interests you, sorry, not just what is popular and moving in the same direction.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I got caught up in that clown hype. And like I said, I think clown has got some real cool stuff going on. But the more I've learned, the more I can see better avenues in like combos and making some different stuff with different combos. Learning about the different morphs is an ongoing process, as everybody knows, I'm sure. So just being able to have any kind of vision as to what something may look like that you've never seen is where, that's where I finally am. Whereas before I'm just like, I want to make that because somebody else made it and it looks cool.
Yeah, that was me. I'm like, shit. Yeah, that was me. I continue for the clown Atlantic Pie now. So
That's cool.
I just want to make it just to say I made that and it's mine,
I'm working on champagne clown pie, blackhead.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
What will that look like? Like with the
Yeah, that-
champagne? Like will you still see it?
Blackhead with champagne is extremely visible. Blackhead adds a ton of pattern, especially when it has like red and ringer in it. There's animals that have red and ringer that are champagne blackhead that do not look like champagne at all. Like when they first started hatching out, people were like, that's not a champagne combo. That's like how much pattern it adds.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, and leopard adds a lot, and so does Enchi. So, and leopard and Enchi go great with blackhead. So, and blackhead and champagne are allelic. So, if you have those together, then you're only going to have those in your clutch too. Like everything will have either blackhead or champagne in it.
I was gonna say I like leopard and Enchi. I love them. So
Yeah, I've got a real nice Enchi Mojave blackhead from Limey. That doesn't bite me. So I want to brag about that because everybody says that Limey snakes bite them all the time. And I told him, I was like, hey, your snake doesn't bite me. So we must be like on some energy here. If she's real mean, then she must know I'm meaner or something.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Fun stuff.
Christina, do you want to tell us what you work with or what you're keeping?
Sure. Yeah. So most of my work is I don't breed. I have no intention to breed well, other than isopods, which kind of breed themselves if you take care of them.
Yeah.
I have colubrids and super dwarf retic. Most of my work is focused on animal training, animal behavior, and education.
And what I want to talk about was the ball training y'all were talking about behind backstage.
So yeah, that's target training. I actually got involved with so that's all based around choice-based handling. So I think if you can imagine like Godzilla coming in and ripping the roof off of your house and pulling you out of bed to wake you up, you probably wouldn't want to interact with it either. So what we focus on is allowing the animals to learn to trust us and to have a relationship with us, and then they can come out on their own, or we can use the target as a means of encouraging them to move, and it's still their choice to do that. So if we want to get them out to interact with them, we can target them. And if they choose not to come, which they're all pretty food motivated, if they choose not to come, that's a pretty clear signal they're not in the mood to mess with you that day, and we'll leave them be if we can. And then if we need to weigh them or take them to the vet, we can target them into their travel bins so that it's less stressful and less strain on them.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Target training is also used to shift venomous animals to shift boxes. So if you have a shift box in your container, you can target train them in order to secure the whatever they're living in, so they are in their shift box, so you can clean water, etc., without having to shift them out of the cage.
Which is much safer for the keeper and a lot less stress on the animal.
How many snakes filled with my thing? I'm trying to read these comments as I'm listening to y'all talk.
Oh, I can't see any of the chat,
Oh.
unfortunately. I wish I could.
Can we put it on the side of the screen?
Are we able to?
I don't know.
I don't think y'all can. I'm not sure. I don't think y'all can.
Oh.
That's why I have like a laptop and right now I'm going off my phone.
Okay. Yeah, I'm on my phone.
So
too.
Lori, Dominic's talking about Lori Torini being at the front of Choice Based Handling for herps, and that she works with, I think she's got like 100 snakes.
Okay.
I want to say. And she's got broils, she's got bread eye, she's got rat snakes. She works with nothing venomous, but she works with in retic. She's got super doors too. She works with a number of species, and she actually does like research with them on how this type of animal behavior training and whatnot works. She's got a YouTube channel of her own, and she's phenomenal.
Yeah. She was one of the guest speakers at Retic Fest, wasn't she?
She sure was, yes.
Yes. Explain this Retech Fest to everybody here, because I didn't even know there was a Retech Fest.
Do you want to do it?
How to... Nope. Go ahead, Michelle.
Okay. So this last year it was the second annual Retic Fest, so we'll be going into the third year with 2023, and it's for the Reach Out Reptiles Patreon members. So it started in, I guess it was, what was it, 2021, when he was going to move to the new facility. He asked his Patreon members to come out and help him move, and the people who volunteered, we were coming out. It didn't happen that weekend. Sorry, something fell.
When Michelle says he, she's referring to Garrett Hartle.
Yes, sorry.
Owns and operates Reach Out.
Yeah, so he was going to have us come out and help him move, and then it didn't end up happening that weekend, so we made it Retic Fest, and we got to go through the collection and hold things and talk to each other. We met some amazing people. That's where we picked up ours. And then this past year, it was at his new facility and much, much bigger, and it's a blast. If you can make it, I highly recommend it. You get to meet all kinds of people. You get people that breed retics, but people that keep them like we do, like you get everything.
Yeah, it's a great way. It's a great place to network and just be with other like-minded people. We did have some people at Retic Fest that don't actually keep retics. They are just very similarly minded about the animals. So, if anyone's ever interested, it's usually held in July, I think. So,
and if you're not sure which one you want to get, perfect time to go. You'll get to see like everything. So
yes.
So every time I hear like retics, because I don't have one, and I'm about to get a super dwarf, right?
Team Super Dwarf, it seems, you guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel left out because I don't have any royals. Like I'm not passionate about royals. I think they're fine animals. They're just not my thing. So I feel like I don't get half of what people talk about most of the time. Go ahead, Chris. You're getting your super dwarf.
Yes, but what I was saying is that when y'all talk about retics, I'm absorbing that because I've never owned a retic, and I'm trying to soak up all this information on retics. Because I'm about to get my first one. So
definitely hook train from the very beginning, even when they're itty bitty and you feel ridiculous doing it, because like ours, she is so food motivated that when you open her cage, she just comes out swinging. And the second you touch her with the hook, you can see the light bulb come on. Like she's like, "Oh, hey, it's you," and she'll totally chill out. And like you can take her out, and she's puppy dog tame. But when you first open that tub, she's expecting food. So
Are you
hook train.
Have you tried tap training?
No.
So tap training is kind of it's not target training, obviously, but it's tap training would be like tapping X amount of times before you open the container if you're going to feed.
Oh, that's awesome.
And if you're not going to feed, you don't tap. So
I should have known
it's like a
this, but yeah.
precursor to entering the cage and getting less food response.
Yeah. So I don't get a food response from Archie, my Labrador.
Really?
He literally will not eat for anyone but me, and he will only eat. He will only eat if he sees the target. If I don't show the target, because at some point I was in his enclosure and one of my kids called for me and I turned around and I still had the food in my hand. He grabbed it and threw it across the cage.
Oh wow.
Wow.
If he doesn't see the target, he will not eat.
Oh, I'm gonna have to start doing that then. I know I should because we've talked about it before, but I have
I
not.
think that you got to find what works for you as a keeper. I don't think that target training is the end all be all, because if someone's not going to be consistent with it, you really shouldn't. So, I think
Good to know.
everybody has to figure out for themselves what they're willing to do. But Archie does not have a food response. Before we ever got him, because it was cold and he couldn't be shipped out to us, we sent a target up there without an actual handle on it, so that he could get used to having his food dropped on the target. So he at least was starting with that from day one.
What else could I learn about retail? Come on, come on, give it to me.
They're super smart.
They
Like,
are very intelligent. They are smarter than you think that they are.
Yeah, you can see them figuring out.
You can watch them.
And I know Tommy worked with venomous, which I want to get into that too. I know you said backstage why you stopped working with venomous, but can you I know you said it was like dangerous, like when it came to drinking waters and tubs and stuff like that.
It's dangerous and time consuming, but I had a close call with one of my gaboon vipers too, so that kind of helped change my mind about what I wanted to do. So that coupled with it, I almost got hit in the chest by my gaboon because she was in a chest high, which isn't very high for me because I'm only 5'2", chest high cage. And I thought I had seen the two animals that were in the cage, and I guess I did not see them clearly. And I opened the cage and she came out, food response, obviously. That was like the start of me thinking like, I don't know about this. And secondary to that, like I didn't have shift boxes in all of my cages. So every time that I was to clean a cage or do a water or something like that, I'm not the type that's going to just reach in and do it. I know some keepers do, but I would always shift to a bucket. So I'd have to shift the animal to a bucket, do the work, shift the animal back from the bucket into the cage. And, every time you have an interaction outside of the cages, you open yourself up to the possibility of a bite, even if you're careful. So I don't know. It was fun and everything like that. But I also mentioned I'm not exactly a spring chicken. So as I got older, my understanding that I can actually die got a little more solid, and I just wasn't enjoying it as much anymore. It's just time consuming and dangerous. So, and I've been doing it for, I don't know, I want to say 20 years at that point too. So
Wow, that's a really long time to have to be so intentional about everything you do.
Yeah, it was funny because for a while with the ball pythons, like I was like, look at me, I can just open this up willy-nilly, and like if you bite me, it doesn't matter. I was like, woohoo, just like juggling them. I was like so excited, like touching them, like yay. Because I mean, my relationship prior to having venomous, I had handleable animals obviously first, so I did enjoy interacting with them. I did enjoy all of that stuff. When I was a kid, I'd sleep on the couch watching TV with my king snake until he bit me in the eye. Things like that. He didn't do it on purpose. He was like exploring, and I blinked and I like slapped him in the face with my eyelashes, and he was like, wow. So now I have like a snake tooth in my eyelid. So fun story, true story. Yeah. So I mean, it was relieving to not have to do all that anymore, honestly. And as much as I do like love the venomous and like find them really interesting. They're highly intelligent. They're beautiful. There's so many different species that are beautiful and so many different, you know, setting them up vivs was really cool because most of them don't get super stressed out in open vivariums. So I could have a bunch of really cool stuff where I could see them all the time. You know, most of my ball pythons are in racks. Some of them are not in racks, like the ones behind me. They have access to hides, but they only use them during the day, and then at night they're out and about everywhere, all over the place. So.
What is that? Tanks or racks behind you?
That's actually Bavaria. It's a Bavarian Electronics like stack. So it's got a fold down door.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, they're actually stacks. They have lights in them. I don't use the lights because they don't need them. But yeah, they've got a fold down door. It's got triple locks on it. I think these are 3.5 feet by 2 feet by, I think, 10 inches tall. They're not super tall, but they don't really use a lot of vertical anyway. So
I use PVC.
yeah, these are PVC. There's PVC stacks though. They're like, it's just a bunch of cages that are like, it's more like a what you would see like in the pet store, I guess. Sometimes you can see them in the pet store where they have the you can't see it, it's not enough light, but whatever. Yeah, anyway, I like them. I like being able to see my snakes. And that they have the option to hide away if they want to, and if they want to come out and say hi, they can.
Well, that's awesome because
Yeah.
I know a lot of people have those clear totes, and I don't even know where to get those because I've seen the racks. Either they make them like that, but I've never
The
seen
racks with the clear totes in them, like the crystal clear totes.
Yeah,
those are
that's awesome.
nice. So like Whammo has some. I don't know if y'all know Whammo. Well, I know Christina does.
Somebody wants an Eastern coral.
Like clear.
Yeah,
like,
that's Hugh. Hugh wants an Eastern coral and a diamondback.
I honestly would not suggest an Eastern coral snake, just because they're just highly specialized in diet. They do stress pretty easily. It's really hard to get bitten by one. That's one plus. Eastern diamondbacks are really cool. I mean, they get really large. They're heavy bodied. They're fast. My rattlesnakes were definitely some of my more intelligent, interactive snakes. And I've only had one ever that was just like wild and just wanted to kill me. But she found a different home pretty fast.
Did you keep blue and Solaris?
No blue Insularis. I had Waggleri. I had Trigoncephalus. I had the Trigons. I bred Trigons a few times. I had Squaminger. I had a bunch of different colors of Squaminger. When it comes to arboreals, I had eyelash vipers. I mean, who does it? That does venomous. It's kind of like it's like the ball python of the venomous world. Eyelash vipers.
Eyelash are something I would love to have. Eyelash, I think they're gorgeous.
They are. They're beautiful.
I think the fear for me is I love interacting with my animals. That's why I have them. And having venomous, my nature is just that if I were to see the snake slipping or just to reach out and grab, and I feel like it would be irresponsible.
If you reach out and grab, they reach out and touch. You don't want that.
I know.
Yeah, but eyelash vipers, they were really cool. My husband said like if I ever got venomous again, that would be what he would want me to have because he enjoyed them also, and he's not a snake person at all. Like when I take my ball pythons out back and like where they're like rolling around in the backyard and I'm hanging out in the chair, he'll be out there sometimes, but he's like, if they start like even like pointing in his direction, he's like, hey, can you get this one? Can you get this one? This one right here? I'm like, okay, sure. He's not like running away, he just doesn't want it, you know?
I often wonder what it's like for people who have significant others that aren't involved in the reptiles. Because my husband and I do it together. We both love it. I just wonder what it's like for the significant other. Is that hard? Because these animals take a lot of your time and attention if you're doing them well.
Yeah.
So I wonder, does the significant other get bitter or frustrated or?
Not in my case. I mean, he has a lot of his own stuff too. He does jujitsu. He likes to read. He writes. You know, like he does his own stuff. We like have a very like we kind of travel like this. Then we're like this, and then we're like this, just because we both do have a lot of different interests, and but we have a lot of the same interests too. So most of our time that we spend together is like outside. Like we go on hikes, we go on walks, we go see the horses. He's really become interested in the horses recently, which he wasn't a horse person either. So if you want to talk about significant others that aren't into what you're into, you have horses and snakes, and they're like, no, thank you on both of them. Horses take a lot of time too.
But I have met like some people where their significant others like, like I don't even know why we have some of these reptiles or get rid of them. You know, I met people like that. So
yeah, I'm sure he wouldn't cry if like everything up and vamoosed. He wouldn't be like, oh wow, I can't believe you got rid of this. But you know, it's I don't know. I mean, it might just be because like once again, he has a lot of things that he likes to do on his own. It's just kind of the way we do it. It's fine. Except it's so funny. So I just said earlier, like I wouldn't tell you how many snakes I have because I don't want to say it where there's a number. The other day, like I went and worked out, and then I went to FedEx afterwards and picked up a snake. And my husband was home when I got home, and I took the snake and like put it in the pocket of my jacket. And then he was like, where were you? And I was like, what? I was at the gym. And he's like, no, you weren't there. I know you weren't there because I went by to go try to see you. He's like, where were you? I'm like, he's like, you keep lying to me. I'm like, I got a snake. He's like, why did you lie to me about that? And I'm like, I don't know why I lied, but I just did. I feel so bad. Because I'm like, he's all like thinking I'm like trying to cheat on him or something. And I just got a snake in my pocket. I'm all like, here it is. Like, so
oh my God.
It's so dumb. I'm like sneaking in snakes. Well, I did that with my parents too. I would sneak animals in the house. I like got in trouble once because I tried to like go through the front door and to my bedroom with a rabbit down the back of my pants. So I was like, my dad's like, what are you doing? I'm like, nothing, just like shivering sideways trying to get to my bedroom. He's like, turn around. Damn rabbit in my pants. I don't know, man. I'm never gonna get past it, I guess. So, what we got going on with the book?
Yeah, so Bree was talking about her boyfriend, you know, it's not necessarily into it, and sometimes gets a little jealous of the time, but he understands, and so I'm glad for that. I'm glad to see and hear that. Yeah. Don't feel bad, Tommy. I, as a kid, got caught bringing in frogs and lizards in my pants all the time too.
It's like, why are we sticking them in our pants? Why are we sticking them in our pants? Like, why?
Yeah,
I mean, I'm a grown-ass woman with my own money to hide in things in my pockets. Like, my husband thinks I'm cheating on him and I'm getting a damn snake. I mean, come on now. I haven't outgrown it. Oh my God. Ridiculous.
It is, but it's okay.
But that's funny though. You get to see the funny side of you. Like, oh, it's just a snake.
Yeah, exactly. Like literally, I was like, didn't want to tell him for real, but there we go.
I feel like that's probably got to be helpful having a partner that is not into it, because to some degree, because financially, when you have a partner that's in it with you, you're like, hey, I want to get this. They're like, yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. Get 3. Let's go to every show there is. Let's go. Like, I haven't gone to any shows because I'm like, no. Because if he knows I'm going, then he's going to be checking me, patting me down when I get back.
Who knows where you're storing the snakes.
Exactly. Hey, not that. Where are we going now? Where are we going? We just took a hard left. Yes.
I'm just like, yeah, they're like, yeah, go ahead, go buy 3. But then they're like, how much are they? You're like, $200. What? Buy 1.
Buy 1.
Oh.
My husband tries to keep me from buying stuff. Like every time I buy the blood boas from Venruso, he always keeps my purse at the booth. Like, you know, I know where you're going. And then I just come back and I'd be like, he's holding it. You got to go pay for it. Like, it's over there. And he just comes back like, so it doesn't really work. You're right. We're worse together, both agreeing.
Well, yeah, because I'll have an idea and my husband will be like, get it. And I'm like, well, we need to think through like where enclosure is going to go in, like what we're going to do with it. Like, but yeah, we could spend a crap ton of money between like Morph Market and reptile shows if
Oh
we're
yeah.
not careful.
Yeah.
Or
for sure.
you have a breeding project in mind, and then they're like, "But this one's nice," and you're like, "Or we could do this one."
Yes.
You're like, this one's a lot better. Yeah. What was I gonna say?
It's funny.
I was trying to find this comment real quick.
All right.
So I like podcasts about like when it's all women because it gives the women a voice. It lets them speak their mind. And lets them teach education because y'all are really detailed. And I always tell Levi like when we do these women lives, I love doing them because y'all are detailed with information.
We are.
And when I hear other women like podcasts, and I literally listen to nothing but the women podcast because the guys podcast is just same stuff. Yeah. It's always well, it's always like it seems like it piggybacks off each other, like Levi was saying the other night. But I don't know. I just feel like the women should talk a lot more in the industry.
I think that there's a lot more women in the industry than maybe some people realize.
Yeah.
I think there's quite a bit of us.
Well, I didn't know Michelle or Tommy until she started tagging me in working out videos.
Yeah. I was like, oh, there's other people doing workout videos. I'm gonna do that too.
So
Well-
Adler's talking in the comment about reptile wives. I don't know if you guys ever watch it. I do. I love them. They're little short clip videos that he puts together. They're amazing.
I don't have a TV. Is it on TV?
No. It's on
YouTube,
Instagram
gotcha.
and YouTube, right?
Okay, gotcha.
What are we talking about?
What, Reptile Wives?
Reptile wives are these little clips that Adler does.
Oh,
And it's hilarious of what it's like to be married to someone who's in the reptile community when you're not. But the most recent one that he did, it was really cute. It was her talking with the kids, but she didn't want to share with Adler that she likes green tree pythons and that maybe she would want to get one because as soon as she says, I think maybe I want to get this, Adler's already like, all right, let's put the viv and let's get it in here. And I understand what that's like because I went through that when we just got Rosie, our new rhino rat. I talked to my husband. I spent like 3 months with it. And I talked to him about, I want to get one. He was like, well, then what are we waiting for?
Rhino rats are really cool.
They're
They're really
I love
inquisitive and interesting. It seems like.
Yeah, they're very interactive.
Yeah.
At least so far that I can tell with her, she's never shown any bit of shyness, and we got her as the tiniest little piece. She looked like a shoestring. She was 10 grams when we got her.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
She's tiny, but no fear at all. Just happy to climb all over us and around us and interact with us. It's wild. I really expected her to be very skittish.
what's up, Keys?
Keys. For the keys.
Yep, Keys and Keisha. Shout out, love them.
Love them both, yes. Phenomenal.
But I do have like a serious question though. Like, what would
Okay.
well, it goes both ways because you work with Venomous and they work with Retic. So, like, what would you? So let's say a new person coming to buy Retic or buying Venomous. Like, what would like be your best information to give them? Like, what would you tell them? Like when they want to come and try to purchase a Retic or how they go
Quiz
about
them.
that.
That sounds bad, but I'd quiz them to make sure they knew what they were getting into before they like just took it home and went, oh. Because we used to breed puppies and we bred min pins, which they're not for everybody. They're very hyper and very like into everything, and they're not for most people. And so we would educate and quiz people before making sure they wanted it. And even with doing all of that, we still had one brought back because they were like, oh, I can't handle this. So
at least they brought it back and didn't just dump it in a shelter.
Yeah.
I would have been really upset about that. We still have her, actually.
Aw.
So
Yeah. So for me, this is a big part of why I won't breed. because I don't think, I would be willing to let my animals go to hardly anyone. They're my babies, and so them having babies, we would be just swarmed with the babies, because I don't know that I could just let people handle them. When people ask me, I hate this question when people ask me, like, what's a good beginner reptile? That
Yeah, me too.
just makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up. So when I get that question, I literally invite people to come over to my house and watch me work with my animals and learn what it means to take care of them. And I'm like, that's how you decide what's a good fit for you. It's not about what's easy. It's about what's a good fit for you.
Right, what you're passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
When
Yep.
it comes to venomous, generally the venomous community definitely pushes mentorship. There's a lot of mentorship in venomous communities. So if somebody comes to you and says, like, hey, I see these pictures you're posting, I want to blow whatever it is, right? It's always a good idea to try to reach out to them and help them and ask them if they need a mentor, and have them come work with you, or find somebody else that they can work with in order to learn proper handling. And obviously, it's kind of like if somebody comes in to get their face tattooed and they have nothing else tattooed, most tattoo artists will be like, hey, maybe you should get a heart on your butt cheek first or something. So it's like, let's start at the rosy boa. I don't know. So yeah, it's not, the venomous community is not super willy-nilly about, most people at least that I was involved with are not super willy-nilly about selling animals to people. It's generally somebody you know, or they know somebody you know.
Yeah.
So here in Texas, we have a McQueen show, and they just sell any venomous to anybody, pretty much. That's,
Yeah.
Wait, at the reptile show?
Yeah,
there are venomous shows. You can do it at Bristol, Tennessee too.
So yeah, there's a venomous show here in McQueen,
Wow,
and like I said, they have them in bowls, like little clear bowls with red tape on them.
Yep.
Yeah, they have squam, they have balloon vipers. Like, I was just close to buying one, but
I bought a saw scale viper at a show. Talk about like a dangerous little tiny danger worm. Like saw scales are like extremely defensive, extremely venomous, like extremely dangerous animals. And I was carrying them around in a little clear cup, like you talked about, and put them in a bag and went in my hotel with them. Like this is normal. Like to me, it was normal. Like I'm like, this makes sense. Meanwhile, I'm sure, like looking back on it, I'm like, yeah, sure, that made sense. Totally. I'm like checking in, and there's rattlesnakes in my back. Like what's that noise? What's that noise? I don't know.
Ringtone.
It's definitely not me. It's not me. I don't know what that is. So yeah, I mean, but once again, back then I'm like, oh yeah, this is normal and okay, but not so okay. So. But
I think that's crazy. I think that's wild and crazy to me. I don't like the idea that people could just go randomly pick up a mainland retic at a show without really having any background or understanding that this snake is going to get huge. And are you capable of preparing and taking care of this animal? The idea of venomous is just terrifying.
I mean, it is, but then like I see people with them, and what the venomous that fascinates me the most is the squam. Because they're really pretty.
Really?
Yeah, they're really pretty, and it would just be a display animal. Like, I wouldn't rehandle it. Like, I mean, of course, I would have to take it out and change it, but like, just be like, oh, look at this venomous snake, and then get tagged on a live and then just die. I'm not gonna do dumb shit like that, but I'm just saying. I had some venomous mentors. I do. And I didn't know she worked with venomous until we started talking, like I said. And that's why I was like, hey, you should be on the show. Like, education, knowledge, like all of that. Yeah, come on.
I mean, I think if you've worked with boreal snakes and, then really, honestly, a squam is like the least scary of any of them. They stay small. You hook them, and they're not like zooming up the hook. They're not fast. They're pretty slow. I don't know. I feel like that's a super manageable like once again, like if I was going to do it again, that's probably what I would end up getting because they are super manageable. They stay put. They don't hook like pancake batter. So it's good stuff. I still have a bunch of hooks. I still hook my ball pythons sometimes. Don't tell anybody. I'm just practicing.
Right? Practically. I like that. So there's a lot of talk too going around, like people getting mainland retics to have permits or licenses. I would say. What is y'all's take on that? And the same thing with venomous. I know.
I mean,
I know.
I don't find anything wrong with it. I mean, I think that having some layer of responsibility, but the only thing is that having that, on the other hand, can open the doors to overreach, right? Like once you have a law or a rule, then you're opening the doors to more laws and rules, and then where does that stop?
Okay, I see. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I see what you're saying too, Tommy. For me, I'm not against it. I'm not. I think that we in North Carolina are facing some fallout because there was a venomous keeper that it was not very intelligent about how they were doing things, and one of their cobras got out.
Mm-hmm.
And we are still dealing with the fallout from that. Those types of people who aren't careful could really, really damage our community, the way that it's viewed, and put us all kind of up on the chopping block. Not that we're not already facing that anyway, but they can make it worse.
I have mixed feelings on it. I've gone back and forth. Before I really was around retics at all, I would have, and this is almost shameful to say, so nobody hold this against me, but it would have been one of the animals that I would have considered, okay, they banned that. Okay, that's, like being fine with that. But then after I started getting around the dwarfs and super dwarfs and seeing how different they are, it does make me a little bit more hesitant to, for things like that, for any kind of bans. But the licenses, I can kind of see the value of it, especially for like emergency services, knowing when they coming into your house that they're in there and that they're not just going in willy nilly, like looking in things, So I don't know.
I think you're still like iffy about it. You're still back and forth. It looks like.
I go back and forth on things all the time. I'm constantly listening to people. I'll form an opinion and then I'll hear someone else and I'll be like, no, wait, you're right. So I'm constantly changing my opinions.
That's a good
So
sign of intelligence, though. Taking on new
I
information
do.
and changing. like that, you know what I'm saying? Like taking on new information and changing your lens is good, because being able to be flexible and be able to take on new information. Science is real, and everything it doesn't exist like in just a tube, and it's like this is right and this is the only right answer, and people that exist that way lose out a lot of times, I feel like.
I completely agree with you. I think that science is advancing, our understanding is advancing, and if I ever stop learning what is the point of being here, I feel like that's just a big part of why I chose research as a career in the first place.
Right.
Having an open mind and being willing to take in new information, new data, and being able to adjust views and opinions on that is vital.
Absolutely.
I think I would probably be okay with it if it was actual reptile keepers making the rules and regulations, like they knew what they were talking about. But when you have people that like are afraid of ball pythons deciding whether or not you can keep a corn snake, I kind of have a problem with that because they don't have the knowledge to make that decision.
Right, and
Thank you.
Yep. All kinds of communities face that though, because I mean, you got to think about like
That's true.
communities where it comes to like dogs and like what dogs are we banning and why, and I have
Yep.
this kind of dog, so I can't live in anywhere that's a rental because their insurance will skyrocket and things like that, and that's where it scares me because I feel like there should be some responsibility, especially if you're keeping dangerous animals, but when the government gets involved in things, there just always tends to be like an overreach and like
Yep.
I'm not up for it. So I agree, like if we had some sort of governing body that was like, hey, we give out licenses for specific animals and you have to show that you can properly care for and house this animal, that was actually looking out for the animal and not just looking out for like trying to be like, that's scary and bad, then, you know, yeah, I think that would be a much smarter way for it to be framed.
Yeah, and if you think crazy cat lady gets crazy snake lady, like, yeah.
Crazy. You don't want any crazy snake crazy. That's funny.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that what we do have with our legislation being passed by people that have little to no understanding about the animals that they're passing legislation on is quite literally the worst thing, because they're actually putting these animals at risk. Some level of keeping is this kind of like the invisible art concept of conservation and being able to help maintain populations. I don't think that we should be taking captive bred and turning them loose in the wild, but it may be we have some of these species that this captive keeping may be the only way to maintain them in life. But if we have these people with legislations passing our rules and regulations, we lose that because they don't have this understanding. They don't have their their fingerprint in, you know, conservation and how ecosystems are working and how the animals actually are cared for versus not. So I would agree with both of you ladies.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, like, go ahead.
I was going to ask you, how do you get hooked up with a mentor? Like, how did you guys find your mentors?
For me, finding a venomous mentor was pretty organic because I was in the community for such a long time. Like I said, I started keeping snakes when I was like 13, and I'm 45 now. So yeah, so I was young and I was doing education at local parks. So I was doing education with a man who was employed by the park who was doing snake shows, which was basically education about like what you might find in the park and like, hey, you know, they're not inherently dangerous and like give them space and like what to do if you see and how to avoid areas where you might step on a snake by accident, things like that. When I was that young. And then so I was kind of involved with those older people who knew other people who kept venomous. And then my first venomous snake was actually a Trans-Pecos copperhead. And I was allowed to get that with supervision at, I think I was 14.
Oh, wow.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wait, like your parents let you keep venomous in your home?
Yeah, absolutely. But there was a lock on the cage and everything was super safe. And like I said, I had turtles and lizards and snakes for a long time prior to that. And I wasn't ever handling that snake. That snake was only handled, meaning shifted, when I was with my mentor, who already had experience. So outside of that, there was a lock on the cage that had a padlock on it that my parents had the key to. So it was like a fish tank with a very dangerous animal in it. Well, somewhat dangerous animal in it.
That's just wild to me because both of my parents absolutely wanted nothing to do with reptiles and hated snakes. So
yeah, my parents got me my first snake. So yeah,
that's so awesome. We did for ours too, but it's just different. So my brain doesn't think that way when I think about being a child and being able to have animals.
Yeah.
I know I wasn't even allowed to have cats and dogs until like way later. I was like you were saying about sneaking animals in. I'd have like crawdads under the fish tank because I wasn't allowed a fish tank, but I'd have like crawdads back there, and like my mom would always be cleaning some kind of jar and being like, "Why are there tadpoles in here?" And I was always getting in trouble.
Because their puddle was going to dry up. That's why. Duh. We know why there's tadpoles in a jar.
Oh, yeah. So everybody, this is my co-host, Levi.
Nice of you to
Hi,
show
sorry
up.
I'm late. I was at a party with the sponsors, so shout out CMB one time.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, hell yeah. Then, yeah.
So, real quick, hi, I'm Levi.
Hi.
Now I'm gonna do what I do best. I heard something throughout all of that. All of that was phenomenal, by the way, ladies. But the one thing that set off a ginormous 4th of July red flag to me was there's a 14-year-old owning a venomous animal. How is that possible? Why is that possible? And that is one of the things I believe when we talk about this. This is where people that freak out say there should be permitting, because that in of itself just does not sound like a good idea. You can't own a firearm that young, let alone something that can kill you even quicker in most cases.
Yeah, I think I went through how that happened, and that I was definitely not handling that animal, and that it was what a mentor was caring for that animal at that time. It was in my home though, but the animal that was in my home could have been found in my backyard also. It wasn't like a Gila monster or a cobra.
Oh, yeah. Okay, it makes sense now.
So it was something that was native to your area.
Correct.
So if someone had have gotten accidentally envenomated, they could have sought medical attention.
Absolutely,
locally.
yeah. Right.
So I guess my next question would be, in that situation, you have an accident happen, right? The lock wasn't locked right, or something happens. We're hypothetically playing with this, right? And you are hit. You were hit by the animal, and now all bets are off. It's not a dry bite. It's a full envenomation. What happens after that, hypothetically? You know what I mean? And this is, again,
there'd be fallout for sure, but I mean, there's fallout with adults that get bitten also. It's not about age at this point. It's
Sure.
about being
Responsible.
irresponsible.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, when we do look at these things, it's not that lens of age is not really that important as much as it is that your animals are under lock and key. Like, even as an adult, my animals were under lock and key. Every individual cage only had one opening. The opening that it could come through was through a lock with a key that was like built into the door. Nobody else had access to the room that the animals were in. And all of that goes into why, at the end of the day, I got over keeping them, because it was just a lot of stress at just even trying to take care of them in the day-to-day.
respect.
I'm gonna be devil's advocate on this. I think almost in some ways at that age, if it's your interest, your ability to learn things and apply them is heightened. I mean, a lot of the people that, are professional sports athletes or, BMX biking and stuff like that's obviously sports, but a lot of them start when they're really young. And some of the sports that people do, they could also get like massively injured. I mean, you see like all these videos of 2-year-olds on skateboards going down ramps. I mean, if they fell off that could kill them. But
Yeah,
you
I
kind of
agree.
learned as a child to where you're more. I'm not saying that children should have venomous, but I'm saying there's
No.
exceptions to every situation.
Right. And it wasn't like I was unsupervised. Once again, it wasn't like it was in a part of the house that if it was, I was even near it, my parents would see me. It wasn't in my bedroom. It was, I see something that says Gila monsters are not medically significant in humans. So maybe it wasn't the best species to rattle off, but when it comes to venom, it's actually anaphylaxis is the most dangerous thing to humans.
Ooh, damn. There we go. Thank you. That one's a huge one.
Yeah.
Real quick, I want to touch on that. Can we put a quick hold on that one? Because I was going to
Sure.
lead to responsibility, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And going backwards to what I walked into, we're talking about permits and owning venomous and owning ginormous animals. We'll set the ginormous animals on the back burner because that one's close. That one's super close to home to me. But let's bring up venomous and
Okay.
permitting and preventing having to have permits, right?
Mm-hmm.
When we say responsibility, would you agree that keeping all of the anti-venom for each specific species that you're keeping is a requirement? It's not I'm going to get it from the zoo and rob them of their, already short supply. Oh, I'm going to run to the hospital. I have it here on site. It's right here, and I have a contingency plan for when things go wrong. I'm ready for it.
I feel like that would be a great idea if it was more available to keepers and that it was actually available for all animals. Additionally, there's a shelf life for it, so it's not even something that you could buy and say these 10 vials are good for the life of this snake or these snakes in my collection. I did have a folder that had protocols that were printed out for every different animal that I kept. But honestly, some of them there isn't anti-venom for. Once again, another reason why I'm no longer keeping them.
No, respect. And I want to make something clear. I guess maybe I should have made this clear from the jump. I am simply playing devil's advocate here. I don't have.
Oh, my feelings aren't hurt. I'm a big girl.
And all the viewers too. I don't have a hat in the race for venomous, but I do.
Yeah.
I listen to all aspects. I was on an Instagram live. I'm not going to name drop, but it was me and two people having a very, very heated debate
Mhm.
about venomous, and I made my feelings known about how I feel about that community and what I had seen coming from this very specific pocket and why we're facing some of the things in Florida that we're facing, why we're facing some of the things that Texas has going
Oh,
on.
I've definitely seen some hairy things in the venomous community for sure. Absolutely. I'm not one to say that everybody that has venomous is doing everything they need to do to keep themselves and everybody around them safe. But I could say the same as anybody who's keeping large dogs, large snakes, large whatever it might be, crocodilians. There's definitely people that don't do all the things that they should do for their animals, and that's unfortunate, but it's a truth we have to face.
I agree, and that was going to be my lead into the larger animals, right? Like, let's touch on that a little bit. I'm split. My heart gets torn one way, and my heart gets torn the other on the mainlands. I would love to see a permit, but like you had said, and like really hammered it home, overreach is the thing, because then I understand me as a responsible keeper and all the responsible keepers I work with day to day. We're really taking the L here. We're gonna get shafted in this situation because we're already doing the right thing, but now because they're overreaching, we got to work even harder. But overall, would it be worth the cost of saving the life of the animal? Because that's really what this is about: it's conservation.
Right, but are you opening your home to inspections, or like are you opening what's the end goal there? You know what I'm saying? Like what would you like to see actually that permit mean? Would there be minimal caging? Would there be minimal access to environment? Would there be requirements for feed? What do you want it to mean? Because it has to mean something. It can't just be a permit.
Amen. I would honestly say everything you just listed. Those are the biggest things that we face as a community. Christina, Mosh, if you want to jump in on that one, I mean, if there's anything you'd add to that.
I think one of the biggest things is adequate space for me. When you're talking about a mainland retic, what is adequate space, and how do you even determine that?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What does that look like? And is it a vertical, horizontal space? Is it just a horizontal space? Like, what are we looking at? And like, it's hard.
Then you also have to think about not just what they're feeding, when you're feeding, but also how much exercise this animal is going to be capable of getting, because having a retic get fat and have these buildup of fat deposits is a real problem if you're not exercising this animal.
Right. Yeah, that's why I brought up access to environment, because I mean, there's no way you're going to have an environment that's going to provide enough enrichment and exercise that they live in the day to day.
I'm going with the self-policing thing on that, just because, I mean, I see the point in all of what you're saying, but it's kind of like when they illegalized pit bulls in so many jurisdictions.
Yep.
And I used to work at the police department way back in the day, and if it was a pit bull, it didn't matter, just coming in. And they would bring these dogs in that were they would send them in my office, and they'd be the sweetest dogs ever. And even the cops were like, I don't want to do this. This is not fun. And they would have to take them because it was a pit bull. And so like some, yeah, they might not have been trained, they might not have been hook trained, they might not have been taking care of them to the point that they're safe to interact with, but some are like puppy dog tame. So I think the second you automatically look at any animal and say you fit in this category, therefore you belong this, you're getting real dangerous. And especially like you were saying with large dogs, like 52 people a year die from large dogs. And I'm I come from a family that owns a dog kennel and deals with German shepherds and trains dogs. And I don't know. Like, I don't think most people are ever going to really go that way with dogs. And so many fewer people die from any kind of reptiles. And it is usually a very extreme situation that the second we start doing that, it just opens a floodgate. And then you're going to have animals that were completely harmless and being well taken care of being put down because there's no other option for them.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Then what's the option? Like if we can't meet requirements, then what are we doing? We're going to put an animal down because somebody decided to not meet requirements. So
Well, my fear is having requirements set randomly by someone who has no idea what the means of
Yep.
keeping these animals actually looks like.
and that's who would be doing it, right?
Or the
Right,
person that
and-
makes the laws not there seeing the animals. They're
Yeah.
asking somebody else to enforce it.
And a lot of the legislation that we have currently and being proposed is very vague. It's not very specific. And
Yep.
that having that is very dangerous because then it's up to whoever's enforcing it to interpret that law at the time. That's scary for me. So having permits, while it could potentially be good if we don't have a standard way to keep ourselves, how can we possibly say that there needs to be a standard that is legal?
Right, and we can't even agree in the reptile community. Like, I mean,
That's what
like, I mean, I'm not, just, yeah. Like, we're all over the board already. So, like, how do we expect people that have no idea, can't even identify? I mean, I don't know if you remember, but there was a while back, and I was just dumbfounded that on the cover of Time magazine was a ball python, and it said, like retics, I think it was retics or Burmese pythons overtaking the Everglades. And I'm like, your Time magazine, that's not that's not a retic or that's not a berm. That is a bull python. And it
I
happens
remember that.
all the time. There's a news that where it said copperheads are all back and it was a ball python. And so like when people see you holding a ball python, they freak out. And it's because news media that we should be able to trust are not giving accurate information. So the people who's making the decisions use that information and then they make inaccurate decisions.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So it says down here, so what do we do with bad keepers? Because in the end, it's their fault. Not everyone is for any policing, even within our own community.
I think if we don't do some level of policing within our own community, then we are going to face more legislation from the outside, as if we don't start taking care of it ourselves. Now, what does that look like? I don't really know. I know for me personally, that means I vote with my dollar. I only purchase from breeders that I trust and I believe in how they're taking care of their animals. I support companies. So when I'm buying things for my animals, I support companies that I believe in. So I vote with my dollar. That's how I do it.
Don't trust that guy right there. Don't trust him.
Yeah, don't trust this guy. He's a fucking idiot.
I don't trust either of you.
I don't trust anybody.
Here's the thing with that, though, right, Christina? Like, this is the argument that was had, and I do stand behind the argument quite a bit because it goes something like this, right? Hey, Christina sucks at breeding animals, and Chris goes, hey, so and so, Christina sucks at breeding animals, and then it becomes this game of telephone, whereas Christina killed her retig on the 4th of July with a firework trying to get it to writing. You know, some fucking outlandish thing that's not even close to the truth. You know, staying away from the drama of that statement, I vote with my dollar. It gets very dangerous with reputation when we're self-policing, because what is self-policing? when you have a bias involved too, it gets more and more dangerous because reputations are destroyed by the game of telephone. You hear one thing and then it's completely different from the truth. And with every argument, there's the first side, the second side, and then the actual truth of what happened. It's a very sticky situation to be in. And then it goes the other way too. That I go, hey, Christina's a really good breeder. And then Chris goes, and so on and so forth. But in all actuality, that person's not a good breeder. They just like them a lot. They suck at life. They got freaking retics that are missing faces. It comes down to stuff like that, where this person's reputation was upheld by popularity. It wasn't actual keeping. So where does the self-policing come in for that?
I can't say for everyone else. For me, I vet the breeders myself. I don't ever go off of someone else's opinion.
Everyone's open to chime in on that one.
Yes.
Yeah. Except Chris. Chris can't chime in. Chris doesn't matter.
Right.
You look like a cheerleader.
So you're hating. Go Bengals.
Yeah, go Bengals.
Well, damn it. Now that she said go Bengals for her, but for you, no.
Yeah,
Don't even know
I'm
what
in
that
Northern
is.
Kentucky, so Bengals is my home team.
What kind of team is that?
A football team.
Football.
A football. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't sport.
They play
That's
golf.
okay. That's okay.
I don't sport, so I figured I'd
Yeah, okay.
try to educate myself on what that is.
It's football.
Yay. That's the little brown one, right? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I should have
Oh my
said no. It's a little black hockey puck.
You're terrible.
If they start playing football with a hockey puck, they'd probably get more people hurt, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately. What a shame. I told Levi that hockey's not a sport. Shoot. Yeah.
Hockey's not a sport.
Hockey's not a sport. Bro, get out of here with that fucking garbage,
it's
bro.
figure skating.
It's 6-foot dudes with nothing but muscle skating at each other at fucking 40 miles an hour, destroying each other. And then they even drop gloves and fight, bro. Like, I don't see football players throwing hands. I'll wait.
Well,
Oh, then you're not
sometimes.
watching close enough.
I was gonna say.
So Rusty said about the self-policing, in order to stop the drama, I think you vote with your dollar, as it was stated, and educate them offline if it's not too late. And then if it is too late, involve the appropriate animal services.
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
fair enough.
I guess, yeah, that's fair. But what happens when animal services gets involved? And then that's another strike against the community, though, because at that point, they don't care who called them. They don't give a damn about the backstory. They just have another news article flying off the sheets.
What would you feel like would be a better course of action?
Me?
Yes.
Oh boy.
That's the $1 million question. Is
I know, but I'd love to hear, because like it seems like there's not a good response. So I'm trying to think, like, what would your thoughts be? Because I agree with a rainbow of ideas with it, but I don't stand solid in any one place. But I feel like that if there's not some answer of something being done, then that end response of that there's going to be a strike against us is inevitable, right?
Yep.
Because so if we go, well, if that happens, then there's a strike against us. But if it doesn't happen, there's a strike against us. And if this happens, there's a strike against us. Like that end point is always going to be the end point.
Right there, bam. What Rusty just said.
Yeah, if we can't prove we are accountable, then we lose this hobby. No, 100% agreed. I think the answer is something along the lines of USARK, but more involved directly with the hobby. So USARK stays the way it is, but we make an internal entity that helps with that self-policing. They're they're from the community, but official. You know what I mean? What is USARK exactly? Nobody really has that answer off the top of their head. We know they fight for us, but what chapter of the government do they fit in? What part of the government are they? What, where do they all fit in this, like, gray area that nobody really speaks of?
I feel like that would be a good question to get the answer to. Right. And then maybe even look at creating, like, because we can talk about things, but if we don't actually take action, then what are we doing? Right. So
I
if we
hate
don't
to say
actually
it.
go ahead.
I was going to say, I kind of feel like conversations like this isn't really helping the situation because
Right.
we're just airing all everything that could be going wrong. And then somebody
Right.
who doesn't know is going to watch it and be like, well, they know. And so they must be right. So I think Christina's right about like educate people. If you have somebody comes up to your booth and they don't buy one off you, they buy one off somebody else, but they have questions, take your time and educate them. Like spend time educating. Spend
Yeah.
time, like if you do see somebody doing something wrong, quietly mention it, like you said, and try and take care of it on the back end. But I don't think televising things that could possibly go wrong is necessarily helping our situation.
Understood. Yep. 100%.
Agreed.
And
Agreed.
yes, Adler, I do. Adler is working on something. I'm looking forward to that dropping too.
And
Cough, cough. That's funny.
Oh, Geo.
No, absolutely not. No. Oh my dude, no, hell no. You out your damn mind. By the way, Geo out his mind. Don't listen to anything he says.
Yeah.
He's the crazy one we keep in a cage in the back. It's all right.
He only comes out to watch the show.
What did you say?
Oh wow.
I said Gio only comes out to watch the shows.
Yeah, we let him out of his cage twice a week. Sometimes it depends on the live and who's on.
Bro, you missed it. She was telling a funny story earlier about sneaking in snakes and putting rabbits in her pants.
What?
Do what?
What about rabbits in what? What the?
You missed
Yeah, you
Tommy's
missed it. You gotta
story.
go back and watch it. That was funny.
Look, you missed a lot. You missed so much. It's okay.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and watch that.
Yeah, that was funny, bro. It was hilarious.
Well, you said 7:30, and that was 15 minutes ago for me, dumbass.
What? It's 8:30 now. That's an hour. If you're an hour behind me, then it would be 7:30.
Forever, Geo.
But you started 40 minutes prior to 7:30.
Bro, I started
Okay.
7:30 Central Time. That
Can
would
y'all
be
argue
6:30 for you.
offline?
Yeah, we can argue offline. Anyways, moving on.
I'm just saying all the ladies made it here.
I was networking. All right, I had to meet my people. It was a good
Wrong
time.
time the network.
I'm reading, sorry.
Okay, so new subject, right?
Yes, no.
Get away from the policing and the
Yep.
nonsense, and let's talk about something positive. With it comes some negative, of course, and the shit that we face as a community. But let's talk about USARC, right? We touch on them. We're talking about entities and things and fighting. Where are you guys at? What are your guys' thoughts on? We'll say the community overall. Are we in danger right now? Do we need USARC? Do we not need USARC? Are we doing enough? Are we not doing enough? And if we're not doing enough, what can we do better? Very loaded question here.
I'll go first. We do need USARC. Without their involvement, without their alerts, we just don't. Our community is not watching out for itself enough. Without them, how do we know? I think that we are not doing enough. I think we're not doing enough to support USARC. I think we're not doing enough to support ourselves. Why do we not have a larger presence in our own local communities? We have a herp society for every state. Where is everyone? Why aren't people getting involved in the herp societies? Why aren't we going to the science museum and doing shows? Why aren't we having outreach events at our local national parks through our herp societies where we are educating people at large? Maybe we wouldn't be facing these types of legislations. They wouldn't be so easily thrown in front of our legislators if we were more involved in an ever-present part of our communities, people would maybe know that that's just not realistic and they're not going to be able to get rid of us that way. My opinion. That's where I'm at right now.
Respect.
Yeah,
I
I
want-
agree. Any kind of unified voice is helpful at this point.
We need USARC, and I'm surprised at how many people don't support them. Like we went to St. Louis, we volunteered for USARC, and we were getting donations. And whenever we vend, we take a pretty decent donation to be auctioned off. And it always shocks me when people A, don't go to the auctions, and B, don't donate, and C, aren't members. I mean, like, what is it, $40 for the basic? It's so cheap. There's no reason not to do it. It almost to the point that maybe that's something that we need to start putting at reptile shows to where when you come in, portion of that. I don't know, but people have no problems going in and dropping $7-10 to get into a reptile show, but they won't give anything to USARC to make sure we can still have it. So
So
I'm shocked by that.
So I think that some of that could be taken up with the people who orchestrate these shows. Show Me Reptiles is a local show that we have on the the Eastern Seaboard, and they donate $1 of every ticket to USARC or official, and then they donate $5 of every table to USARC Florida.
Well, and I'm not saying, I'm not sure whether or not the locals is donating
I
it,
don't
but I mean
know.
the people coming in. Like the people coming in
Oh.
don't know they're putting that money to that. They don't know. Sorry, they don't know.
Fine.
Like, oops. They don't know whether or not they're supporting it or not, and it just like it surprises me. Or even just the whole like, maybe like you said, like, and I'm shocked about the whole Herp Society not getting more people too. We go to our Herp Society meetings, and sometimes there's like 15 people, but sometimes there's like 5, and that's the Cincinnati area. So like
Yep.
there should be a ton of people there. Our reptile shows are full. Like it's like you said, I don't understand why the community shows up on YouTube and we show up on Instagram and we show up on all that stuff, but we don't show up to the things that count.
So,
Agreed. I do agree on that.
quick question. Let's start back on this one because now this has opened up another thing. What is a herp society? For anybody new coming in, there, a lot of people don't even know that we have herp societies to begin with. They know, everyone knows YouTube, everyone knows Facebook, everyone knows Twitter, everyone knows Instagram because they had one prior. But getting into this, I didn't know we had a herp society. I would have been there years and years and years and years and years prior to even knowing that all of this existed. But that's because I was already into reptiles. But for the first, I don't know, probably year and a half, almost 2 years, I didn't realize we had one. It wasn't until the last couple of years I knew we had one. I was able to help out, donate money where possible at the shows. And, I haven't physically gotten involved because ours is overloaded, thank God, because Arizona's a great state for this. But not a lot of people know, you know what I mean? Like, I guess let's get back to the basics. For anybody in the comments, what is a herp society?
Okay. You want to take this one, Michelle?
I'll tell you what ours does. I don't know about everybody's, but the greater Cincinnati area Herp Society, we meet once a month, and we have a guest speaker. Our guest speakers have been, we've had the keepers come in from the Kentucky Reptile Zoo, which is an excellent venomous lab that we have here in Kentucky that does extractions. I go there all the time, so that kind of gives me my venomous fix, and I don't have to worry about keeping them. Which, if you haven't been there, highly recommend going. Like, it is fantastic. But then at the Herb Society, they've come in. We've had our president is the head of the Cincinnati Zoo Reptile House. So, like, very, very knowledgeable people are there and willing to talk. And we've had keepers and breeders and just people who like to go herping. We talk about Snake Road and doing a trip to Snake Road. We go out to Boyer Farm, which is owned by the Cincinnati Zoo, and we do frog call surveys where we get to actually listen for different species of frogs, learn the species. We get to go herping and like catch garter snakes or anything else we find, all different frogs. it's a great way to network in person. And you get everybody from like 10-year-olds to, 70-year-olds probably. I don't know how old some people are, but you get a huge variety of people, but they're into the same things you're into, or they're into different species than you're into, and you just get to network in person, which it's totally different than these. And if you want to go herping and you don't know anything about anything, it's an excellent way to learn about it.
Yes. So our Harp Society is very similar to what Michelle is describing, involved in citizen science projects. Lots of herp trips together. We try to do family-oriented herp trips where we have things even for people who are differently abled to be able to participate. We do education events. Like we went out and did one of those at the Greensboro Science Show where we just all came together. Some of us have like native species where we can talk to families about the different native species that are in the area. And we have like Aubrey who has his water monitor and the really big mainland retics, beautiful retics. So we have all this variety of species. We have people with tegus and tortoises, and we can actually educate families who are there for an event that's already happening at the science center. So we're doing things like that. So it's a way for us to network. It's a way for us to find other people who are like-minded. It's a way to experience other people's animals without having to keep them all yourself, which is great for me because there's some animals that I just don't have the bandwidth for. But I think the thing that I cherish the most is the educating. There is nothing like seeing a child's face light up the first time they ever touch a snake. That's just, I could live off that energy. So that's why I'm such an advocate for being a part of your local herp societies.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that too. So I'm trying to get comfortable, guys.
I will say one other thing. We get a lot of families where the parents don't know anything about herps or anything, and they've got some 8-year-old, 12-year-old kid that just wants snakes, and so they bring them in and let them talk to us, and the parents ask all kinds of excellent questions. So, like, I don't know if you're watching this, if you haven't, if you're not into snakes, but take your kid out there. If you don't have a clue, but they're interested, take them. Put them up with those, just kind of, I don't want to call them mentors because that's not like the venomous mentors or anything, but something as simple as ball pythons or a turtle.
Respect.
Yeah, I think it's important to allow those children who have parents who aren't interested and don't want to. We can give them space and opportunity to learn, so that they are educated when they're old enough to go and purchase their own animal.
I was one of those kids. I don't know if the rest of you, I mean, you said your parents were real supportive. My dad was
Yep,
the kind
mine
of
weren't.
dad, I remember him backing up on a country road to make sure he ran over the snake. And I was just like crying in the back seat of the car, like, what are you doing?
Yep.
And my mom was, even when I was an adult, she's like said she's not going to come to our house if we have snakes. So like, I was one of those kids with the parents didn't support it. So
Yeah, my mom did it. My dad did. My dad was very supportive of it.
Yeah, same. Dad was supportive, mom wasn't.
Neither one of mine were. My father was one of those. So was my mother. And the only good snake is a dead snake.
yeah,
Actually, my father just believed. He literally, his saying was, if it walks, flies, crawls, or swims, it dies. My father was an avid hunter, and that's all he cared about.
I've got a couple of those in my family too. Converted one of them. The other one is old and stubborn.
Yeah, it broke my heart growing up. It was really tough growing up in a household like that. And I'm bleeding heart when it comes to animals. It's why I probably went wild once I moved out.
I'm not anti-hunting. I'm horrible about that, but like I like it better than like a lot of the farmed meats. So we totally, I come from a family that hunts, but I kind of have the Native American take on it. Like if you hunt it, you better eat it kind of thing.
Yep. Yep.
Go ahead, Chris.
What? Go ahead. What?
Nothing.
comment.
We do this every fucking show. We battle over who's going to highlight the comments and who's going to do what. So that's what a herp society is. How do we help spread the word about herp societies? I mean, if we're going to get down to the very, very, very bottom of this and where this all starts, and the ladder upwards, because now that we're talking about herp societies and herping, all of us here herp, right? Everyone on the panel?
I do.
I do. Chris,
What?
do you herp?
No, I don't. There's
You
nowhere to
herp,
herp
bro?
here. There's
What
nowhere to
did you-
herp in Texas.
Hold on, I got y'all. Hold on.
Did
All
you
right, so
say
we're
there's
gonna mute
nowhere to
them,
go
and we're gonna
herping
move them
in
over
Texas?
there.
Texas?
Well, in San Antonio, it's nothing but city. So
Yeah, you have to road herb outside of the city, right?
yeah, you have to roll. Yeah, you have to go outside, and I'm not driving 5 hours just to herp.
Yeah.
I bet you.
understand.
I bet you 20 to 1. There's still places to go herping out there.
I don't know. I mean, I tried looking on Facebook to get into herp groups, but there's nothing here.
Okay,
It's all
so
like-
we're gonna get into that too.
Y'all, guess what? My phone's about to die.
No.
Oh yeah, StreamYard takes up a lot of battery. That's why I leave it on the charger. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've been on since.
We've been on for 2 hours now.
Yeah. So I imagine
That-
my Bluetooth and things are going to fall down.
Right there,
It's
blinking.
that
Right.
guy's fault. Yeah, and I can't plug in my phone at the same time as having these guys in there. So I'm gonna have to either say goodbye or just disappear at some point. One or the other. Y'all's choice. You don't care.
Yeah, I don't mind either way.
Okay,
I'm
I'll hang
like-
out for a little bit. It said
All right,
10%,
all right.
so I don't know what is gonna happen.
Okay, I think we get. What kind of phone do you have? Do you have an Android or an iPhone?
I'm not telling you because you're gonna pass judgment either way. We're just gonna say I have a
He
dial.
does. He does. How'd you know that?
She
Because I
knows
have a
you,
read on him.
Levi.
I'm a grown woman. I've met people before.
Oh, I don't. I have an Android. So.
Yeah, I don't know how I tolerate him.
Because he has an Android.
Yeah.
Hashtag iPhone gang.
All right. Well, I'm gonna break your heart and tell you I have an iPhone also, and it's dying.
Oh, see, hashtag iPhone gang. Let's go.
Oh my god.
Christina, what do you got? What do you got?
She's an Android
What do I-
user.
Oh, yeah, I'm an Android.
Michelle?
I'm an Android and PC.
I'm currently Android, but I've had iPhones before. I love my phone.
Why would
Yeah,
you
I
betray the
can't do it.
brand?
Because it's garbage.
Space.
Far superior.
I have so much more space for photos and videos on this phone.
Yep.
I filled up all my
exactly.
other phones, and I'm like, no, this is the 22 Ultra, and yeah.
Do you hear that? Do you hear the sound of wind?
See,
We're
she's
winning.
got the one exception to the rule, though, and that is the S22. That is a very, very nice phone. I will admit.
Bro, I have a
I can
22.
set
What are you
my
talking
ego
about?
aside for 3 seconds and say the S22 is a really nice phone.
How did I?
What do you
make
have,
this
Chris?
happen?
I have the 22.
Oh, well, yours doesn't count. Yours is manufactured wrong.
Yeah. Right?
Okay, hold on. Anyway,
Go,
we're
go,
gonna
go.
lose a guest. Oh, okay, we're gonna lose a guest, and I want to touch on this. So let's get to the nitty gritty of this, right? So when you talk about herp societies, and this is coming from an outside looking in, thinking about when I first got into this, we talked about herping, right?
Yep.
I don't think that herping is as strong as it needs to be. It needs to be stronger because we're to a point in the industry where you have people coming into this that don't know what herping is. They've never gone herping and they don't have very much interest in it, probably because they don't understand the importance of it and, you know, the conservation and understanding animals in the wild. No offense, but ball pythons are a huge thing in this one. And this is one of the biggest arguments against ball pythons being so popular. Not that I'm against them. I'm not talking shit. But they are so far from the wild that people that get into ball pythons only. What is the point in going herping? What is the point in going to the herp society? What is the point in doing any of X, Y, and Z? And also, let's backtrack to the other one before the stupid iPhone thing came up. It's difficult to get into these herping groups. It's difficult to find a mentor in herping. and this is coming from where I'm at least. It's difficult to find that person that is truly willing to mentor you and get you out in the field and make it a burning passion, because it's such a secretive thing, because we have so many people out there. A dead snake is the only good snake is a dead snake. Like if you ask any of the people I work with now, brand new, if you haven't been herping for at least a year, they won't tell you anything. Go out, learn it yourself, prove you're not going to kill these animals, then I'll show you.
I mean, I hate to say it. I don't know that we need more herpers. If you want to herp, then go do it. But like it's like you said, most of the people that have their spots, they're not telling everybody, because you can't trust everybody to know where those things are. Like if you know where the rattlesnakes are and you tell the wrong person, there won't be rattlesnakes there anymore. So like, I don't know. I do kind of feel like it's something you have to earn. And if you want to earn it, just go out in the backyard and start flipping rocks and logs. Like my backyard's full of frogs and turtles and salamanders. You don't have to go somewhere special. You just start wherever you are. Start paying attention to what you see and get yourself a little local area thing. And I'm not saying I'm like I've never even seen a venomous snake in the wild. Like I'm not that level at all. Most of my herping is literally frogs and salamanders and garter snakes and just regular stuff.
See, that's cool though, because that's all we have out here is freaking venomous.
So most of my herping is very much like Michelle's, as far as like we don't necessarily start out with a target species. We will have areas that we know we're more likely to find, or there's temperatures, or whether it's overcast or whatever. No, we'll know that there's more likelihood of us finding something. But we are just happy to find whatever we find. I'm just as excited about frogs and salamanders and bugs as I am about snakes. So I get just as excited over a decays as I do a copperhead. Like it's all just being in nature and being able to experience these animals in vivo.
It's funny you said that. I went frisbee golf with my sister, and she literally like made me leave. She was like, "We're done. We're not doing this no more." Because I kept stopping and looking at spiders and like every little insect crawling around. She's like, "Will you just throw the frisbee?"
Yeah, that would be me too. I wouldn't be able to help myself. As far as getting into a herp society, you don't have to herp you don't have to go herping in order to be a part of the herp society. There's lots of other benefits to being a part of it. Being in tune, if nothing else, being in tune with what's happening in your local reptile community is worth it.
Yeah, what I'm saying though is like if you go herping and you're in the herping community, the herp society is more of like a talked about thing. And in the breeding aspect and the keeping aspect, it's not as popular. It's not a subject that comes up as much as, hey, there's this badass person over, the herp society that knows where X, Y, and Z is for herpers, or, there's getting close to this person and they'll teach you. And that's how I actually learned about mine, was through herping and wanting to find new spots and having a target species.
What was your favorite thing you've found so far?
My favorite thing I found so far?
Yeah.
Fuck, that's hard. Everything. Arizona Mountain King snake. By far my favorite, because of the experience I went behind it was on a Cub Scout trip. So I got a impromptu education seminar. Like I got a picture of it on my Instagram. It was a lot of fun.
Cool.
What about y'all?
I have not found anything too amazing. I like doing the frog surveys because there's species of frogs that I didn't even know how to recognize their calls. Like I thought those were insects my whole life, and then I'm like, oh, that's a frog. That's really cool. I thought I knew about frogs, but I clearly did not.
That's the funnest part about all this, though. You find something, you're like, oh shit, what is that? And then you learn something new.
For me, it'd have to be a red pygmy rattlesnake.
Oh.
Everybody's like, oh.
Boom! Hit you with the red pygmy rattlesnake.
Dusky pygmies are like my favorite rattlesnake ever. I love them.
Duskies are so sweet. They're so cute. I love them. The red pygmies are basically the same thing, but yeah.
That's pretty cool.
They're just red.
Where are you at? I didn't hear you say
I'm
where
in
you
Virginia Beach, Virginia, so I'm not far above habitat for the red pygmy. because they're down there in North Carolina coastal.
Yep.
And I'm coastal also, so I just boop down that way. The one thing I've always wanted to find that I haven't found is a coral snake in the wild, though. I think that would be really badass.
Yeah, I've never seen one either.
I only know one person that ever found one is because they peeled bark, and I'm not peeling bark.
I was gonna say, come to Arizona.
Yeah.
We got them all over the place. You just gotta know where to look.
Yeah.
And what time? Never mind. I'm going too far. Anyways. Cool. What about you, Chris? Defer?
What?
He's in the city.
He just told you he doesn't go harping.
A roach.
A roach.
What do you want me to say, bro? I'm in the city, bro.
You've never been herping before in your life? You've never found anything out in the wild?
Bro, rattlesnakes, yeah. But that's about it.
And rattlesnakes are badass, especially when you find them in the wild.
Bro, look at this face.
Okay.
You see it happy or anything? No, I don't like rattlesnakes.
You got a shaved eyebrow. Looks like you're missing a fucking Band-Aid. But anyways.
If it was like, if it was a hog nose or Easter hog nose, that would have been hella cool because, you know, I love hog nose.
Of those.
Yes, we have them. They're
we have
amazing.
That's what I want to see. An Easter hog nose out of the wild.
I found a melanistic one.
Yes, they're gorgeous. We have them everywhere around us.
Yeah, oh my God, y'all are making me jealous.
I love them when they're in their like high red subadult phase. They're so pretty.
Yes,
yes. Yeah, they're gorgeous.
That's what I want to see right there, the high red. That's exactly what I want to see.
Yeah.
Well, come out here and come harping.
Where are you, Christina?
North Carolina. I'm literally right below Tom.
You're actually off to my left right now.
Well, yeah, a little bit.
I need to go there.
Adler, what do you mean I missed the last 20 minutes, bro? What are you talking about? You mean Chris?
I don't know who he's talking about.
Don't confuse me with shaved eyebrow, bro.
Bro, my eyebrow is actually pretty clean. Look at that. It's clean. Anyways, go on.
Yes, because I've got to go to bed soon because I've got to get up early in the morning for work.
Yeah,
it ain't even that late.
Oh, it is
okay,
here.
Cool.
We're at 10
I'll
o'clock.
call you when I leave.
Hey.
I'll call you when I get up in the morning.
Hey. Yeah, so speed them up, please.
Do it. I bet you I'm up too. Anyways.
He's all hyped up on vape. He's got to go.
Right, bubblegum vape.
Yeah, bubblegum vape.
Facts. Actually, I'm amped up on caffeine. I drank coffee before this. So it probably wasn't the smartest decision.
I didn't have coffee today, so. Yeah.
Drink enough caffeine to kill an elephant. I guess we'll hit a wrap-up subject then. I came in late.
I'll do the wrap-up question. You want me to do that one, or you want to do a different one?
Do your thing.
All right. So, wrap-up question for all of y'all. If you could change one thing in the hobby/industry, what would it be and why? It could be husbandry. It could be anything, pretty much.
Did you say change something? Yeah, I didn't hear the whole question.
Yeah, so if we could change anything in the hobby.
I said /industry, what would it be?
Okay.
Mine would be more people participating in US ARC.
That was awesome. Christina?
More people participating with educating. Just educating the mainstream public. Whether you do that via YouTube or you do that in person or you do shows, whatever. Just I would love to see more people active in educating the mainstream public about these animals. Why do they captivate us so much and sharing that love?
You, Tommy?
I don't know. I would honestly say that I would like people to look more at the care of their animals through a lens of like meeting needs versus just like bare minimum.
Yeah. I agree with that too, Tommy. I think that's beautiful. One of the things I love very much about Ryan and Erica and what they're doing through VivTech is, and Ryan is like I love hearing him talk, and every time I've heard him talk, hearing him talk about there's a difference between surviving and thriving.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's one of those tenets of keeping that I have. Making sure that my animals are thriving, not just surviving.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's important because if we decide to take on responsibility for another living being, that we should put some thought into what are their actual needs, not what are the needs for them to only just survive, like you said. Because I mean, even in like zookeeper, when you're zookeeping and things like that, there's requirements for enrichment, there's requirements for space, there's requirements, and those requirements are built, off of the animals thriving in captivity. So.
Yes, Adler Ryan fires me up every time too. Every time I listen to Ryan talk, I get more excited about. I cannot wait to get in and build something new as far as a new enrichment station or a new, like adding things to an enclosure build.
See, like everything I do with dog training and horse training, it comes from a base of meeting needs, because a lot of behavior issues with animals.
Her phone died.
Oh no!
Oh,
Dang, that was good too. God dang it.
I know.
I think
wanted
she
to
wins
hear-
the best exit though. Like we were hung on every word.
I know, right? We're all like,
part 2, damn it.
dude, there is gonna definitely be a part 2, and hopefully the ride is on time.
Hey, look here.
Look at here. Yes, I'm looking.
I'm looking.
This guy right here was at the party of our sponsor.
Which I'm jealous of because I wasn't there. Anyways,
And
So
your boy,
so you turn your camera off?
I was gonna
yeah,
say,
I can't turn his off. I don't want to see his face right now.
that doesn't take it away, dumbass. I picked up 2 Reach Out Reptiles produced house snakes.
Oh, fuck house snakes.
Cute.
Oh,
What?
no, I'm sorry.
Hold on. Hell no. That one, we gonna talk about that. Hold up. Hold the front door.
I'm
No.
literally joking. I am
Oh.
completely joking. You have to know it's a Reach Out Reptiles thing. It's a hashtag Team Ashley thing. We are all hashtag Team Ashleyers are against house snakes. You'd have to. It's a joke.
Inside joke, yeah.
House snakes are awesome.
No,
That's all I'm saying.
I honestly think house snakes are great. They're just not for me, but I think they're great. I think that they're small enough and simple enough that they're not too difficult for your average keeper to look
They're
at.
interesting. They look like little miniature burps.
Really? Well, in that case, I need to get me some house snakes.
Look, bro. Look at the head. Come on. I'll show you.
Oh God.
I like working with any species, really. I just gotta learn. Anything that fascinates me.
And I need to do more research on it, but what is this about freaking, oh, he gave me stickers. Look at that. I feel special. What is this about them being communal?
Okay, so I don't have any particular data about African house snakes being communal per se as a species, but I tend
There
to
you go.
believe that snakes are
There you
much
go.
more communal than they have been previously believed. That we've believed previously. We have some significant data that's coming out. It's just not as clean as I would like it for as many species. That actually is references snakes being communal, and not just not as far as like the way that we think about garter snakes being communal, but sharing hides and brumating together, and sharing spaces, even cross species. So not just within their own species. Is that what you were asking about?
Yes and no. Yes, but yes.
Okay.
Yes, but no, but yes.
Okay, that's real helpful, Levi. I don't know much at all about.
Take me off solo, you fuck.
Why me? I don't know. I don't know much about African house snakes per se. I haven't really done much in the way of digging into them because they're not my, particular interest.
I was looking at the
Respect.
comments.
What do you know about house snake genes?
Levi, don't.
Oh, you better smack him, sis. Smack him.
Oh, I will. I'm gonna get him. I didn't know. What I know is snakes don't wear jeans.
So before you go, Michelle, you gotta look at this shirt.
Okay, I have to say I'm more of a passive rooter. My husband's the football fan, but like I do catch parts of the game, so
Oh, that was a hell of a game.
I missed it today because he was working and I didn't watch it.
Aw.
He thanked the Bills. 27, I want to say 17 or 14.
Dang.
No, Adler, I missed that, but that's even again more evidence to the cohabbing in the wild that
Mhm.
I'm super super interested in. I mean it.
I did watch
so
it,
hard
and
to-
it was great.
Okay, that was my husband and he's an Eagles fan, so he did make me watch that game yesterday. So
No,
at least part of it.
no. It's
You
going
were
to be the
saying,
Bengals
Levi?
and the Eagles. Watch. Bengals, Eagles.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be a major thing if that ever happens at this house.
They love Levi, though.
I see what you did
What?
there. The jeans, bruh, come on.
I'm not paying attention to you, Levi.
Ruined me. That was like my 2 peas in a pod joke last night. That was phenomenal dad joke right there.
No,
A1.
it wasn't. Your jokes are not that funny.
Bruh,
They make me
I came
sad.
on to a podcast and made you, Billy, and God damn it, Lucy Lynn just die. I'm a funny
Oh,
person.
yeah, because you put on some glasses and nose with a mustache.
Yeah, it was a dad joke style thing though, and it was funny.
Okay, you caught me off guard with that one. I bust out laughing. I
I make
wasn't
you laugh
expecting
all
that.
the time. I'll send you
I did.
little snippets and screen recordings of all the times that you laugh at my stupidity.
Okay, Levi,
Can you
it's
meet it
not
for me?
getting any earlier.
Right? Okay, like, all right, so I want
Make
to
I
thank
coffee
you.
know,
and
but I'm getting tired.
We are going to do a part 2 because somebody was late. Not mentioning any name. We all know who it was. I'm gonna
I'm happy to come back on anytime, guys. I have a lot of fun with y'all.
okay, Michelle too. Michelle, you're more than welcome. You don't want to understand, but I will yell at Levi today. Joking, I'm joking. Tommy from Inky Cloud, we're gonna definitely get her back on because I
Yes,
still want to hear what she had to say. You know,
yes.
I wish she got back
Absolutely.
in the comments and finished saying what she was saying, but you know, whatever. It is
Well,
what
her
it is.
phone's dead.
Huh?
Yeah, dumbass.
Well, her phone's dead.
Yeah, I know. Well, like you get 2%, everybody like dump backs on real quick. That's what I do. When my phone dies, 2%. Hey, I'm coming back on.
Maybe she don't know any better, bruh.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
Get
I'm
better
just saying.
instructions.
I'm just saying. Well, I just.
I want to chat with her offline later. Just compare behavior training and work notes with her. She's awesome.
Yeah, it was crazy because she only hit me up because of the workouts, and then I started talking to her, and she was like, "Yeah, I used to own venomous snakes and all this." I was like, and then she was like, "I do like herb stuff, like what y'all were talking about," and I was like, "Yeah, you should come on this show. This show's gonna be a good one." And that's why I brought her on, and she was funny too.
Yes,
Her story
she is.
was, yeah. So I'm just gonna end it at that, and I want to thank you, Christina from Genetics, for coming on. Michelle from Mosh Boss, appreciate y'all coming on. I'm also going to take the time right now to shout out our sponsors and our partner. Our sponsors, our Reptile crew. I'm going to let Levi shout out the other one because he was there.
Oh, Bill and Caleb are awesome. They are awesome people. I love what they're doing.
Yes, I love like Caleb when he's on the show. There you go. Our sponsor, CMB Reptiles.
Shout out CMB Reptiles. Selectively, exclusively picked captive bred animals on sale at their store. Only distributor of Reach Out Reptiles on the West Coast. Hit my boys up. They are on Morph Market. Hit up their Instagram. It is CMB Reptile. Caleb and Bill doing big things down there, and it was a blessing being able to see them and the rest of the Arizona community show up tonight. Shout out to everybody that I talked to tonight. Phenomenal meeting up with y'all.
Yeah. And then shout out to our partners, Mi Familia.
Yes, mi familia.
They know who they are. Family.
Yes.
On that note, I got nothing else to say. Levi, take off this comment real quick, man. All right. Y'all got anything else to say? Y'all want to say?
Nope. Thanks for having us on. This was fun, guys. Thanks for joining me with Michelle.
Thank you.
You were the whole reason I ever got on camera. I just cannot thank you enough for pushing me in the right direction.
It's so funny you say that because Alyssa from Full Throttle was the one that encouraged me. I actually thought about just being in the background and pretending I was a dude the whole time.
Well, how do y'all do that? Why?
Because
I said a lot of females
you
do
never
that
saw females. Like when I first came through, you never saw females, and so I was like, nobody's gonna want to talk to any girls. So I just figured, just hide. But gotta have a step forward. I think there's a lot of us hiding in the shadows.
Yep. I mean, I literally go out there to find them. Like, I just type in reptiles and brings up pages, and I look through every profile and see, you know, women try to bring them on, and they're like, nah, I'm not ready for that, or, you know, I'm scared of camera. I don't know what I would do or what I would say. And, you know, I get it, but you won't know until you get on the show and, you know, get comfortable. And that's what me and Levi try to do, or that's what I try to do, is make y'all comfortable as possible. So.
Yeah, I was 100% wrong. I got to say that first. I was 100% wrong about the community. Like, everybody's been super welcoming. But if you don't see it, I can see why you feel that way.
I just hate being on camera because I hate seeing myself. I have no problem speaking up. I'm quite confident.
But yeah.
It's the being on camera that was rough for me. But Michelle got me through it.
Respect.
And I'll tell y'all later, like next time, why I started all the women's shows. But I was gonna say it right now, but I know everybody's gotta go. So
yeah,
because women keepers are the most badass on the fucking planet. That's why.
Well,
we are pretty awesome.
Here, I'll give one exclusive piece of information before we leave, and I'll set my damn ego aside for the first time, and I will say that Christina is 15 times smarter than I am when it comes to keeping these damn things.
Me too.
That's facts.
Even Michelle feels facts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks, guys. I just love the animals. They are my heart.
All right, guys. On that, I want to say good night to everybody. Thank you guys for coming on again one more time. And we out of here. I love you guys. Y'all have a good night.
Love you guys too. Bye.
Much love.
Thank you.